Today is all about nutritional periodization, aka why you can't diet forever. And this is what I see women fall into again and again. They get into this cut phase where they just cut calories, they cut calories, they cut calories, they cut calories, and they go on and off diets. So like they'll do a cut, they'll lose the weight, and then like they gain the weight back because like they go back to what they were doing and then they decide to lose the weight again. And there's some clients that have come to me that have been on a diet for many, many years or like their whole life. It's just one diet to the next diet, and they don't give their bodies a break as far as their metabolism and their overall health. So really nutritional periodization is planning out your nutrition into these phases so you can give your body a break, give your body a metabolism a break. Because if you're constantly cutting calories, like you're really like lowering your metabolic rate. Sorry, I can't speak. So this is basically metabolic adaptation, and metabolic adaptation is not necessarily a good or bad thing. Our metabolism is constantly changing, and it's really there to like keep us alive. I mean, it's a healthy part of life. If you think about evolutionary, feast and famine, there were times where people had lots of food and then times where they didn't have food. So their metabolisms would need to adjust. So metabolic damage is not necessarily a thing. it kind of happens, but it's like not something that you're stuck with it, but you really want to work with your metabolism as opposed to against it. And I think when we diet, we're kind of working against our metabolism and what our body naturally wants to do as far as keeping us healthy. So the more extreme your diet, so like the bigger calorie deficit, the longer you diet, the more times you diet, the more efficient your metabolism becomes. Because using those calories, because the body gets used to that number of calories and what it's going to do. It doesn't want to burn any extra calories. So if you are eating, 1,200 calories, your body still needs to breathe. Your brain needs to function. You need to move your muscles. So the body is like, okay, this is all we have for calories. We have to make this work. And so your body is not going to expend any extra energy as far as like that energy out balance. So it's going to hold on to the fat. It might even gain fat because it wants to protect your body from like this stress that's going on as far as under eating, over exercise, things like that. So again, like metabolic damage, not really, it's a thing, but it's not really a thing. But the goal is really to figure out a plan so you can recover your metabolism and get to a place where you can healthfully get into a cut phase and maintain your fat loss for the long term. So that's what we are going to talk about. Okay, so this is a perfect visual, and I use this with my one-on-one clients too. Sorry, it kind of cuts it off, but damage and metabolism, aka metabolic adaptation. So what happens here is, we start a diet. This is like the traditional diet that a lot of women go through, but they're eating 2,000 calories a day. They decide to diet. They go down to 1,700 calories, and sure, they'll lose the weight, but then they plateau because the body gets used to eating 1,700 calories. And then if they want to lose weight, they have to cut calories again. So they go down to 1,400 calories. They lose the weight, everything's great, and then they plateau. And then really to get to a lower weight, you need to cut calories even lower. So it's like, are you eating 1,000 calories? Are you eating 900 calories? Like you can't just keep cutting calories. Like you just can't not eat. Like you're not gonna be able to live. But really like when you are cutting calories super duper low, it's also going to affect your hormones, your cortisol levels, your thyroid, your gut health. So really like overall health and under eating goes hand in hand. So this is what we want to get out of this cycle. We don't want to just keep cutting calories forever because you guys know if you cut calories, you will lose weight, but you just don't want to keep doing that same thing again and again. So it really is about periodizing your nutrition. So, we have a little pug friend coming in. Hi, bud. So nutritional periodization. So it is almost impossible to reach your body composition goals in one dieting phase. So this is like key because like I said, you can diet, but you can't keep dieting forever. So with this periodization, you are really setting yourself up for success as far as getting better results when you are in a cut and then also maintaining your results. So when your metabolism adapts, which is not necessarily a good or a bad thing, you need to work with it instead of against it. And this is why we are periodizing nutrition. So the main phases are cutting, which is the typical diet. You're cutting calories, you're in a deficit, you're focused on fat loss. A reverse diet is essentially the diet after the diet. And this is really required. And I think this is where a lot of women make the mistake of not doing a reverse diet. And that's when the weight all comes back. Because if you think about it, you are constantly, or you're constantly like cutting calories and you're eating at a lower, ooh, did I let her in? I think I let her in, but you're eating at a lower number of calories. So it's almost like the perfect storm. When you start eating more calories, the weight's going to come right back. And I actually told this story when I was super duper sick, as far as like having a flare and like just not, my body wasn't absorbing anything, probably consuming a very low number of calories. And then the drug that I'm on, the Stelara, started working. I gained like 10 pounds overnight. And it was like the perfect storm of like under eating, not purposely, and then absorbing calories and like overeating, and all the weight came back. And that's kind of the mistake that women make again and again, is that they're like losing, gaining, losing, gaining. So with the reverse diet, you are purposely and slowly adding calories week by week in a very systematic way. And that really is minimizing the amount of weight that you are gaining. And essentially your body and your metabolism upregulates to that amount of calories that you are consuming. But it really is like efficient with those calories. And a lot of times you're focusing on strength training during a reverse diet. So instead of having those extra calories go towards body fat, they're going towards building muscle. So it could be like a really great way to minimize fat gain and really help you maintain your results. So reverse diets are awesome. I actually have, I think it's week 6. The whole presentation is about reverse diets because it really is an essential part of this, and the part that a lot of women skip, or they just fly through it and they don't get the best results. And if you're somebody who has been chronically under eating, it's required. It's like not something you can just skip and go by. And we have so many women who come to us that embark on reverse diets, and it really is nice to have a coach to walk you through it. So if that's something you guys embark on, we're here for you as far as a group goes, because it can be really hard, like mentally, to eat more. But we'll get into all the details. Like there's so much that goes into reverse diets. Like I have a whole course devoted to reverse diets. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And then maintenance is really like where you want to be most of your life. I mean, at one point I had said, like 90% of your life is in maintenance. And I guess it kind of depends on your goals and everything. But I would say like most of your life is in maintenance. And we will talk about maintenance today and how to calculate your maintenance calories. And then bulking is just eating more than your maintenance calories. And it's not like a ton more. It's not, I mean, I always joke about this too. Like I think about like the guys at CrossFit, like the meathead guys, like they go into a bulk and they're eating like cheeseburgers and donuts, and like they actually kind of get like chubby like during a bulk, but they're putting on muscle. But then when they get to a cut phase, like the fat will come off and everything, but they've put on the muscle. So it's not to say that you need to do that. You don't need to like overeat and go crazy. I mean, you can if you want. I mean, it's like a fun time, but like really increasing your calories by like 5%. I mean, that's like 100 calories. It's really not that much more. And that's why like being in maintenance can be a really great place to be, because in maintenance, like you could be overeating your maintenance, under eating your maintenance, and it kind of like evens out at the end of the week, but it could be a great time to build muscle. So I just love maintenance as far as a place to like hang out and let your body just be healthy and let your metabolism adapt. So we'll get into all these phases specifically. This week is maintenance. So we'll talk about maintenance. Next week is cutting and bulking. So kind of like the reduction of calories and then the addition of calories, and then reverse dieting will be after that. All right. And so this is an image I've shared on Instagram. This is really how to break a weight loss plateau. Because again, it goes back to that dieting. And like people just get to this point where they're like, I'm eating 1,200 calories, like I can't lose weight. And it's because the metabolism has adapted. So this is how you would plan it out over the course of the year. And this is the goal of the mentorship, is really to plan this out for you, starting now till, this time next year, or, whenever you decide. You could start in January too. But you're planning like a fat loss phase, January, February, great time to do it, because a lot of people are super motivated. Everybody's getting healthy. And then you can reverse, into the spring, and then the summer, just hang out. You don't have to focus on tracking. You can just have fun, go to the beach, go on vacation, don't worry about it. And then, Labor Day comes and you're like, all right, it's time for a fat loss phase. Like, let's get it together. I had too much fun this summer. And then reverse through the holidays, which is great because you can have the extra treats and everything. And then, hey, January comes back and you go into a fat loss phase. So there's a lot of ways to do it. But I really believe that planning this around your lifestyle is really huge, because it's going to get you the best results. And we'll talk about this next week as far as cutting, because I think with diets, there's like a lot of expectations around diets and how they work. But there's so many things behind the scenes that can really set you up for success, as far as making it enjoyable and, planning it around a vacation or planning it around, busy times at work and things like that. So we'll talk all about that next week. But again, it's working with the metabolism, working with your lifestyle instead of against it. Okay. And so, we're looking a year ahead of time. I definitely have case studies where it's, a year and a half, 2 years, as far as people making body composition changes. And really, like, the time it takes freaks people out. And I've had this conversation with so many clients over the year, mentorship ladies and all that. And I always tell them, I'm like, well, what's the rush? Like, why not do it right, the right way, or like right way now, instead of like making yourself crazy by doing all these like drastic things, cutting calories, being miserable, white knuckling through diets, doing endless cardios. So this mentorship is all about learning how to quote unquote diet properly, so you can spend the rest of your life just enjoying living better, but also, getting to your goals and feeling good about it, feeling healthy, feeling confident, full of life, all those things. Because I do think diet culture makes us think like the harder, more hardcore the diet, the more hardcore the workouts, like the better it is. And I don't think it has to be that way. I think it really can be enjoyable. It can be about nourishing yourself. It can be about trying new things, learning more about yourself, getting your friends and family involved. There's so many ways to make dieting enjoyable and fun, and make it easy, instead of making it like this stressful, terrible thing that like you hate every second of it. A lot of it goes back to mindset. Okay, so this is kind of a summary. Like I said, I'll be breaking this up into 3 different weeks, but this is, how long these things typically last. It's not a hard set rule, but just kind of gives you a guideline that, a cut is anywhere from 8 to 16 weeks. I typically don't have people go more than 16 weeks, just for the fact that your metabolism is going to slow down, and you might continue to cut calories as you go through those 16 weeks. So we don't want to just keep cutting forever. So with a cut, you definitely want to have like a start and stop date. And I will get into detail on exactly how to do this, but just wanted to point that out. A reverse diet is going to take a lot longer. And I mean, I have definitely reverse dieted people for 9 months, like a really long time, and then going into maintenance could take a really long time. And I do have a really good case study that's about 15 months of a woman reverse dieting and going into maintenance before she even cut. So that's a really good case study. So I'll show you guys that when we get to reversing. Bulking, kind of similar to cutting, just kind of depends like what type of program you want, like how much muscle you want to put on. I think you should always be strength training, but with a bulk, you're just really focusing on putting on muscle and eating enough. And then maintenance is most of your life, and that's what we are going to talk about today.